Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, it's really lovely to have you here. Just a few words in the beginning. For those who don't know me, I'm Andrea. I'm the Speaking Without Fear coach, and I help sensitive spirits to overcome their Facebook Live public speaking fears and help them to get into the flow to show up with ease. And with ease is, I think, a great topic for Yvonne, because I've watched a few of her Facebook Live talks, and honestly, she's really a natural.
You are too kind, Andrea.
I'm so happy.
I can truly tell you that I'm not a natural. I might be a natural speaker, but I'm not a natural live speaker, and I get very, very anxious and screwed up inside.
Oh, yeah, well, okay. So just let's talk a little bit about that. So maybe you want to tell us what you're doing, what your job is. You're a coach, yes, and how you started with Facebook Live and why.
Right. It wasn't something that I'd ever really considered doing, Facebook Live. I've done a lot of videoing presentations. So that's videos for YouTube and for courses that I created. But I've been an entrepreneur now for about 20 years and still trying to find that sort of one thing that I can do that, I can really make a big success of. And I joined a Facebook group that I was introduced to by a friend of mine. And I wasn't aware that it was anything to do with Facebook Lives. It was just a business group. And so I joined that, and then it was a little bit of a shock because it was, introduce yourself on a Facebook Live. And I'm thinking, oh no, I can't do that. And I was so scared. So in the end, I was in the group for about 3-4 months, and I thought, I've got to say something. I've got to say hello. And I thought, well, I can't do this Facebook Live thing. There's just no way that I can. So I'll do the video on my phone, and then I'll upload it. I thought that's a good thing to do. Lots of people, sort of said hello and all that, but it took me a long, long time to sort of come out of the closet, really. I mean, that was December of last year. When I joined that group, I didn't put that video up until June of this year. So I was in the group for 6 months, but I wasn't really going in because I hadn't been very well. And then I had an opportunity to join the lady who hosted the group. She was doing a smaller group of just like, a monthly mindset, that kind of thing. Very, very small, select group. You paid to be in it. And there were only 14 of us. And that was where I learned to do Facebook Lives.
Well,
that was where I sort of grew more confidence to actually do them, because, and I'm sure that your ladies and mine, if I'm allowed to share this on my page as well, I'm sure that they will say, I don't know what to talk about. And I think this is one of the big issues. And so for me to be able to go into this very small, tiny group where we could just offload, if you like, you could just go on, and it was almost a little bit like a journal or a diary where you could just go on, and everybody was really supportive. They're very supportive in the big Facebook group that I'm a part of. But they were, to be really supportive like that, so that that whatever you say, you don't have to come up with some kind of message. You don't have to be sort of sat there thinking, oh, well, this is what I do, and I'm trying to pitch and trying to sell to you. Or I've got a message that I can give to you, because, that's the whole crux of doing a Facebook Live, is why would anybody want to watch it? And you have to have some reason for someone to watch it. And so to be able to go into that very small group and just to be able to talk as if you were talking just to a friend, that was really, really helpful. And I grew in confidence, because I was determined that month, because I'd paid the money to be in the group. I was determined that month that I was going to go and do a Facebook Live every day. It was only a couple of minutes sometimes, just to gain my confidence. But that was how I started. Yeah, so that was how I started doing Facebook Lives.
Yes, it sounds interesting. especially the idea of this tiny group.
Mm.
That woman managed to create a safe space where you can start to explore your skills and to get over your nerves. Yes. And it's also a very a kind space where people are nice and they will comment and they will support you. So I think it's really a good idea to start at such a safe space. Yes.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned your mindset, because it's really interesting. Yes. Because a lot of women think, okay, what if? Yeah, so those are the worries. What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't have nothing to say? What if they don't like me? What if no one watches? Or what if someone watches? Yeah?
Yes. That's one of the biggest problems. What if somebody watches? I mean, that was what scared me. What if somebody watches?
Yes, that's from deep inside. That's what we want. We want to share a message from the heart, and we want to help other people to overcome special obstacles, yes, or special challenges, yes. And then we are afraid of someone is watching me.
That's right. Yeah.
Did you have such challenges with you?
Oh, I mean, very much so. And someone said, it was probably only a couple of weeks ago, actually, when your message is bigger than the fear, then the fear just dissipates. Because if you show up on a daily basis, if it's only for 1 minute or 2 minutes on a Facebook Live, you're not only increasing your own confidence, but you're getting yourself out there. Because as all of us entrepreneurs know, you can't just sell to people. You've got to build up that know, like, and trust with people. And that's the whole idea of, going onto your sort of Facebook business page on a daily basis, so that you are doing, if it's only, 2 minutes a day, but just that you're always there, you're always in people's, presence. But just to really sort of, one little tip is something I was going to say later on, but I think it's pertinent to say it now. I come from a theatre background, and that is probably why you think that I'm at ease, because I act. And I was watching I was watching somebody else who actually said this very same thing, that she had gone to, she'd been part of like a dance academy, and that was when she was sort of training to be a dancer. And she said, fall in love with the camera and just forget that there's anybody there. I mean, that's really, really hard to do. I know it's really hard to do, but flirt with the camera. And sometimes, I mean, what I do particularly, because I really do try to sort of, make that eye contact with people with that little spot. And I really concentrate on it, to the exclusion sometimes of people who are talking to me, because that's a hard thing to do as well. So, oh God, somebody is actually watching me because this little one has come up, and your tummy turns over, and mine does. This is my 5th live today. And if I see anybody come up on that, that little eye, I'm thinking, oh God, and I lose my train of thought, so even those of us, and I wouldn't even say I was seasoned by any stretch of the imagination, but, I do more lives than probably the average. But I still get really nervous, because it sort of takes you away from the flow of what you're trying to say, because you're trying to speak to the camera, trying to engage with people, trying to say hi, and they're commenting. And so you're trying to bring them into the conversation as well. But it's a really hard thing to do. So, when you first start off, just ignore them. Just ignore them. And then at the end, just thank them. I mean, I'm getting more into, oh, hi, but at one time when I did my first lives, if people came on and were watching me, I go, oh, hello, how are you? And I'd start talking to the messages. And then when you look back on these, you rewatch them, don't you? Because I do. I watch them back to see if they look all right. And then I think, oh, that looks awful, but I've got into the, hi, how are you? And then back and instantly sort of focusing. And this is that focus onto that just little, just
Yeah.
little things. But this is, I don't know whether you may have seen this when I did this because we're in the same group, aren't we? Heart-centered entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever saw my little lady. Did you see my little lady video?
No, I didn't see her.
Ah, right. Well, this is it's just I cut out my ideal client off Google, and then I just put a hole in her head, and I put some blue tack on the back of her, and then I put that over the whole of the camera. So you
that's amazing.
So you just put her over the camera like this, and she's just there then, and you've got somebody to talk to. And that was what I'll just take it off because it's a bit distracting for me now. But that's what I did when I first started doing Facebook Lives, is that I put that over the camera so that I could really zone in and I felt like I was talking to somebody. And that really helped me. So I hope that's a tip that will help your ladies to grow a little bit more in confidence. I mean, in terms of confidence, I don't know what else to say because it just has to, I don't know if any of your ladies who've read Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. But I'm a big proponent of that, feel the fear and do it anyway, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what people think of you because, the people that you want to attract, you will attract, and the ones that want to be repelled by you will be repelled by you. And I think that is a universal, if you like, spiritual thing, really. Like attracts like at the end of the day, and not everybody's going to like you. And until you get out there and feel the fear and do it, then you're not going to know who likes you and who doesn't really. And try to ignore the trolls because there are trolls.
Yes, I think one big challenge also, especially sensitive like to compare themselves with big voices on the internet, like Marie Forleo or all those professional speakers, and you have this voice in your head and say, okay, I can never do that, You always compare yourself with people who are way better than you are, and you think, and you feel bad about it, And everyone, each of us started out at some point, and when we look back to our first Facebook Live, we think, oh my God, no, I cannot watch this, We all develop step by step, and with every Facebook Live we do, And I totally get it that some people, for some, it's easier to overcome their fears and to tame them and to show up live. And I really see a lot, you just need a little bit more of mindset work or a little bit more hand holding to get over the nerves. And tricks like this picture is helpful for some people, and there are other tricks too, how you can tame your fears. And I've written one post about how to explode your mind with speaking topics. And it's really similar to what you said before. It's getting really clear on your message. So before you start, you really know what to say. And the interesting thing is, when I started out, I mean, I'm from Vienna, I'm not a native speaker, So I have to get really clear on my message before I go live because it's a vocabulary thing, Sometimes I want to say words and they don't come out right. I have to find another word, or I have to really get clear because when I get wobbly and my words go this, I cannot come back. It's a vocabulary. So maybe that's an advantage too, I have the clarity, and you said it before, and it's really helpful to find this key from your message, what do I want to share, and what topic am I talking about, And I watched your page, you have topics, they're really amazing, you really broke it down into tiny pieces, So it's not the big whole message you have as an entrepreneur, or the coach. You broke it down in tiny pieces. Can you talk a little bit about that, why you did that, and how this helped you to create speaking ideas?
I think probably you're talking about my tea and tips, and I do my tea and tips live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it used to be a half an hour, and then I realized that was a little bit too long, so I decided I was going to do 10-minute tea and tips. And I suppose you just pick things up by watching other people, really. And when you are in these sort of Facebook groups where everybody is, I mean, and it is everybody in this group, and there's about 2,000 of us. Everybody is encouraged to go live. So there's very few posts on in this particular group. We all go live. And so you watch other people who are far more seasoned at doing this. And just briefly to go back to like the Marie Forleos, you know, I've followed Marie for a long time. Brendan Burchard, I've followed him for a long time. You go back and you look at their old videos where they used to tape their phone to boxes with gaffer tape, and they're just awful. But the thing is that by keeping them up there on YouTube and allowing people to see them, it gives you that confidence to say, well, look where they were 10 years ago. And that's where I could be, and probably even faster now, because they didn't have Facebook Live and we do have Facebook Live. So yeah, breaking things down into smaller pieces. I like that. And it comes from my spiritual side, to be perfectly honest. I like breaking things down into threes. I think 3 is a magical number. And I also think that, and I don't know, maybe it's particularly because I'm 62, got the old grey hair. Unfortunately can't dye it because I've got food allergies, but you know, I'm living with it now. But you know, you do have these moments where you forget your train of thought. And so for me, I find that keeping it to 3 points, just hones it in for people. It's easy to remember. That's something that you can carry in your head. You know, like I watch videos sometimes where they go on, and point number 7, and I think you've lost me completely because I lost it at number 1, you know, so, well, I lost it at number 2 sort of thing. So yeah, that was a reason that I wanted to sort of chunk it up. And I think in the kind of topic that I've got as well, which is quite vast really in terms of what I do, is I coach in time management. And so that's a huge topic, and goes across many different varying subtopics, if you like. And so, you know, I can talk about sort of, office organization, you know, and mindset in terms of, you know, how you approach your work during the day, you know, so I've got a varying amount of topics that I can work on. So yeah, that was the reason really. It was because I thought that it was easier for you to retain in the memory. It was just 3. But if I'm going to be honest with you, it was because it's a spiritual number.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I think it's also funny to talk about our challenges and struggles during a Facebook Live. Do you have one story you want to share with us where you really, maybe you run out of words because there's a common fear? Yes, what if I have nothing to say? I have a blackout or whatever. Is there something, a funny story you can tell us?
I can't bring one to mind. I might do, but I can't bring one to mind at the moment. But in all honesty, Andrea, most of my Facebook Lives go like that because, and I just had one when we were talking because I went off on a tangent and then I thought, what was the question she asked me? And amazingly, I sort of remembered it. I'm getting better at doing that, but yeah, I think what I do is it depends on the audience that I'm actually delivering the message to. So if I'm doing a pitch, because I'm running a program at the moment, so I'm pitching in some groups and on my own page. If I'm doing a pitch, then it will almost be word for word. I'll almost read it, but I'll know what but I've got it all typed up sort of thing. And then I will have my my camera or my netbook propped up. You know, it all looks very untechnical when I'm doing it, but it looks great on camera because I stand up, because I've got more energy when I stand up. And so that puts it across better. And I've got them, you know, blue tacked underneath, you know, so that I can follow it, so that I don't forget what I'm talking about. But then when I do my tea and tips, for instance, I will just have a paragraph or a few sentences, and then I'll have the 3 things I'm going to talk about, the 3 topics. And then when I'm talking in a smaller group where I'm going on just to talk about me, who I am, what I do, because I've got a lots of types of different things that I'm involved in, from spirituality through to genealogy to saving hedgehogs and, all manner of things. I've got an eclectic range of interests. When I'm doing things like that, then I will just talk to camera as though I was just journaling. So, as I say, I think it's very much who you're talking to, and I don't allow myself to falter in that sense, because I'm a planner, I'm an organizer. And so if I'm doing something that's really important to me, like a pitch would be, because you want it to come across as professional and polished as possible, then I will, I'll have my script there, and I won't read it word for word, obviously, because that would look awful. But yes, it will be there as an aid memoir for me to, just check that I've got everything. I've got everything sort of in that I want to talk about. So it's really me sort of putting everything in place, and that is, it comes from a fear. I know that, and it comes from a fear of failing, of screwing up, of making myself look an idiot. So we all feel it, however at ease that we put ourselves across with, we still have that fear underneath it. And I know that the lady who has been very instrumental in helping me to do Facebook Lives still gets scared. And she must have done, I don't know. I couldn't even count it on one hand how many. She does lives every day, and she's been doing them now for 2 years. So you can imagine, how many lives that she's got under her belt, sort of thing. So yeah, it depends on your audience as to delivering what message you're delivering and what kind of notes that you want to actually have in front of you. But I have been through the odd time where, I lost it completely on my very first pitch. Because I don't like pitching, like most of us. I don't like selling, and I fell apart halfway through because somebody came on to watch me, and I just thought, oh no, I don't know what to say. I've lost my thread, and I pulled it back. But because I knew this group, at the end I just burst into tears and said that was the most difficult thing I've ever done. But of course, you can do that in a group like that. Whereas if you're doing it on your business page, you can't really fall apart, can you? But when your ladies watch this, there's always a delete button. That's what I always think. There's always a delete button. If you don't like it, you can always get rid of it.
That's definitely true. Yes, I think we all have our challenge. I have done once a Facebook Live and in a group, and I spoke for about 5-6 minutes, and I don't know why my brain refused to remember some vocabulary. And once that started, I didn't find the word what I wanted to say. And after 1 minute more, I really said, okay, friends, it doesn't make sense today. Tomorrow I get my dictionary, I come back and we talk about this topic again. Yes. And we're all afraid of messing it up that way. But honestly, we are afraid of basically of nothing, because nothing happened. A few people laughed about it, yes, because they thought it's funny. They were relieved that I make mistakes, yes, so they can do their mistakes, yes.
Absolutely.
And I just showed up the next day, and everything was fine again. Yes, I could speak freely and fearlessly and share my message without troubles. So that happens to all. It's really a challenge to find a way to just laugh about it. Yes. Yeah. And make it a good. So.
Yeah. I think also you can turn it around the other way and make a positive out of that, because by sharing your vulnerability, then that will heighten your know, like, and trust. And there are a couple of people who I watched, and I wasn't very, I liked them, but I thought, well, no, I'm not really keen on working with them. And then they broke down I didn't intend to do it, just broke down in one of their lives, and I was hooked instantly. And I thought, yes, I can connect with you now. And so sometimes making mistakes is a really good thing to do. So,
Yes. Yes, and we all have to learn free of mistakes and never fail, but it doesn't happen. It's just that when you do a video, you can push the delete button and record it again. On Facebook Live, it's definitely live, and when somebody's watching it, so we have this fear, we picture ourselves, the failure is much bigger when someone sees it, yes?
Yes.
So how I do a mistake, but we don't know how the other people react, yes? Maybe they just like us, as you said, like us more when we do that.
Yep.
Yes, because that happens. Yes, that just happens, if you want it or not. And I think it's a challenge to get to just laugh about it, but I think it's a possible way. That's definitely doable. Yes. Yes, it's with you. I mean, so do you have one last someone else with Facebook Live and it really scares the hell out of her? What would you recommend she should consider or do in the first place as a first step?
Before she actually, when she's doing her lives? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Before she starts with Facebook Live, maybe to overcome her nerves, to tame them, or maybe dealing with the technical stuff may calm down the nerves, yes, because that really can feel overwhelming, the technical side, we know that. So, or is it more a mindset thing? What do you think?
Well, I'm a great believer in just getting on and doing it. And so for me, if I was starting over again now, as somebody who'd never done Facebook Lives before, I would try and find a friend who would like to do Facebook Lives as well. It's so easy to set up a group, a secret group on Facebook. You could even do a secret group for yourself. You have to invite somebody. I usually invite my husband and then I can get rid of him. He'll say to me, oh, right, I'm in another group. And I'll say, no, you're not. I've just got rid of you again. But Facebook insists that you have somebody else in the group so that you can start it. And so, you could get yourself a private secret Facebook group just for you, where you could just practice doing lives. Because I do mirror work. I use one of these groups as a journal, and I do mirror work. And so you get used to, because I think the worst thing is listening back to yourself and thinking, I sound awful or I look awful. And so that would be a good way to start off, to say, well, okay, what do I look like? What do I sound like? What's my background look like? What am I wearing? What's the lighting like? And then to invite a friend to that group who also wants to do Facebook Lives and practice between you, so that you've got somebody watching you and they can comment and you can, so that it gets you used to delivering a message, but also talking to people. Just a few notes that I made, if I may, on, how to sort of do them. Yeah. Make sure that you've got really good lighting. You've got, super lighting there. I'm not quite so good here today because the weather's not too good here in the UK, but make sure you've got really good lighting. Make sure that you maintain this eye contact with the camera, even though I know it's quite difficult. Try the little lady, if that helps you. Also, to change your position regularly, because if you're going to do Facebook Lives on a regular basis, and people end up binge watching you and you're always in the same position, you know what I mean? It gets a bit boring. So if you only just change your camera angle or you move or, do something like that. And also to make sure that you're not looking down on the camera, because that's very teacher training. Whereas if you're looking up at the camera, that's very much more coaching and much more approachable to people. And the other tip that I would suggest is if go out and walk. And I know you're going to say to me, oh, I can't go out and do a live outside, Yvonne. But, if you can go, and don't start the live until you're in a quiet street, but just go and walk, because you'll be amazed how much more at ease you feel if you're out sort of, talking to I know you talk to your phone and you look a bit idiotic, but you know, people get used to it. They really do. But going out and walking, I do quite a lot of lives where I just go for a walk and I just walk around the block because I'm thinking I'm really nervous. I don't know what to talk about. So I've got an idea in my head of what I want to say, but I'd rather go out because then if I lose my thread, I can say, oh, right, let me just flip the camera and show you where I am. And oh, here's so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And you can pull it back. So that you're not quite so nervous. So that would be my tips, to look for the lighting, to look at the camera and make sure that you're looking up at the camera, not down at the camera, to change your position regularly, to try going out and doing a live outside, but set up that little Facebook group between just for yourself to practice, and then, you know, between two of you. And make sure you have really good titles. If you have a really good title for your live, then, you know, you'll get people who will then, what you want them to do is stop, not scroll. So you want people to stop and look at your video because you really do want people to watch you. You've stopped a little bit. Yeah. The camera's gone a little bit, you've frozen. So I'm still carrying on, hoping that we're still okay. So I'm not
okay, can you hear me?
Yes, it's breaking up a little bit. Maybe with a connection or something.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
No, you cannot see me. Okay, well, that's fine. So I really like going outside and going for a walk, and I have never done that. I definitely will do that. You're such an inspiration. I learned so many things from you today. Yes,
thank you so much.
It was really lovely to talk to you. And I hope you meet soon again and chat once again, or even doing webinars and public speaking. As myself and a lot of people can really learn a lot from you. It's amazing how you do that.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. I actually do interviews for my program, and you are just the perfect person. So I would love to interview you as well at some point in the future. So that would be lovely to connect again.
Yes, that's really lovely. I'd love to. So, but for today, I think we finish. And yes, have a nice day, have a nice evening, and see you soon. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Andrea. Bye-bye now. Bye, everybody. Bye.